You can always write it down in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and ask the question directly and the way you would like to. So you're most welcome. Our panelists both are here with us, right? So just in case anyone wants, you can do that. My question to Bhushan was, so you said that you usually do it in remote villages, etc. So at what population do you decide that you need to do a school? What is the population of the village that you will decide that, okay, now I can do a school here?
Thank you. The population matters, but it is not the primary factor that we look into, to be very honest. Yes, there was school I remember where there were 15 kids and they want a building, and we had to say no, right? Because again, you have to do cost benefit analysis and stuff. But if you generalize for the school, the picture that I was showing with the brand of the school had 125 kids. And that was enough because they deserve a better school, and for us that was enough. So number of students is not a primary indicator. The primary indicator for us is the need. If there's no classroom, you need to have a school there. But again, with 15 students, you might not want to do it because it's better if you merge it to some other school maybe. But it's the need that drives us rather than the number of students.
That's great, and I'm waiting for questions. They'll be coming in, so I'll take the opportunity. You called it Kids of Kathmandu, right?
Yeah.
But our concentration more is in the villages which are away from Kathmandu, and maybe there's some people who aspire to be in Kathmandu. So why did you choose that?
Thank you so much. This is the question I get 99 out of 100 times, so I'm not surprised with the question. Look, I'm a professor at a business school, and I teach marketing. So brand is something that I understand a bit. We started in 2010, and by two of my co-founders who were in Nepal, doing honeymoon, and they went back to States and they thought of starting this organization, and they named it Kids of Kathmandu in the US. So we worked with that. I joined the organization in late 2010. In 3 years where we were not set up in Nepal on the initial days, we worked with the same brand. We were not sure where we will go and what will happen, but at some point our name got so popular that we could not change it, and later on the school project started only after 2015. So we were in that stage where we could actually not change the brand of ours. So it stays as Kids of Kathmandu, but all the work that we are doing is on Kathmandu. So yeah, I agree, but that this has been a brand for us, and we don't feel like changing it right now.
It was a technical hitch and I moved out. So if there were questions, I may not have looked. I've just missed it in case you shared it earlier. So Siddhi Shah wants to say something. Could you please unmute yourself?
Yeah, so I actually wanted to understand his background. I'm not sure, I must have missed his introduction. I wanted to know what was his profession before you started teaching, or before you started education.
Great. Bhushan, could you take that, please?
Yeah, thank you so much. Siddhi, thank you so much. Kids of Kathmandu is my first job. So I started in 2010, as I said. So this has been my only job. My academics is all management. I did my MBA with marketing specialization. I did my MBS, which is business study in management, and I completed my MPhil in management. So my academic pillar is all about management. But my work has always been focused into an education sector. I think my dad is a teacher, has been a teacher from last 40 years, and he is my inspiration. That might have guided me. But I genuinely believe in the power of education and the change it can bring. There are a few other organizations that I'm involved. I'll be very brief on this one. So there's this organization called Global Dignity, which is working on 80 different countries in the world. I'm representing Nepal as a country chair. Again, with the value of promoting dignity among everyone. Also e-education, where we try to digitize our classroom, which I didn't mention in this part because I just wanted to focus on the school part. And I'm working as a project director there. So every of my work is somehow associated with education because again, as I said, I believe in the power it holds.
So there are two questions for you, one from Satya and one from Sabs. Can I request Satya to unmute yourself, please?
Hello. Hello.
Yes, we
Sir,
can
am
hear
I
you.
audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah. Bhushan sir, actually, I have a question for you. May I know a little more about the pedagogy and methodology which is in place in the schools where you are working currently?
So, okay, one thing that I might not have discussed in my presentation, Satyaji, is so this is all public school, and there's zero ownership that we have. It's all non-profit world. It's all volunteer work. There are generous people who donate money, which we put in the school, and we do not work with the operation part of the school. Because the public school here has some complex dynamics on the operation side. For example, teacher hiring is done by government. You cannot interfere much into that one. It's actually, when you talk in operational part of the methodology and the teaching part, your involvement there is very less. What we do is we train them. We help them to cope up with the new technologies, new facility that we provide them. Again, a lot of training, a lot of workshop is involved in that phase. Generally, after handover, we are associated with school for 3 years so that they know how to maintain the stuff. They know how to, if something goes wrong, how to take care of that. How to teach students using this new computer. So, for example, the computer lab we gave is called Raspberry Pi. The technology is Raspberry Pi and not the regular PC. And just to get used to that, it takes time, right? So our model is more into a hardware and a bit of software part, but we do not work very closely with the operational part, if I answer your question properly.
It's nice. I think there's an avalanche of questions coming over here. So I'll ask Sabs to please unmute yourself and you can ask your question. And after that, I think Maxim McDonald can also ask his question and then you can take both of them together. Is that good? Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, hi, Bhushan. It's really inspiring to listen to you and looking at you that you're so young. I just wanted to know what is that one moment that made you change, to pursue your dreams. I mean, I just wanted to understand that because it's really nice to see someone so young and youthful, to do something so creative and inspiring and productive. So what was it that inspired you?
Thank you so much. Two reasons. You telling me youth makes me more youth. But look, I feel blessed, and I tell this, there are more people in this country or in this world who has more knowledge than me. But I feel blessed that I have this opportunity to build school. The story that I shared earlier has definitely been the triggering factor for me, but there were several different stories that is very close to me. I would like to cite one, and I just to put everything in context. So we work into this non-profit world, and we have to make videos. We had to click pictures. So there was one moment where we were making videos of the student, and we were asking this basic question: what is your name? Which grade you are in? And what do you like to be in the future? So first kid we did, she went. Second kid we did, he went. There was third kid who was there. The camera was just on top of my head. My friend of mine was shooting, and I was interviewing on the eye level. And she said, my name is X, I study in grade X, I'm X year old. And on the question, what do you want to be? She just pointed at me, straight to me, saying that I want to be like him. And you just feel the top of the world, feel that you have changed the world. Look at that impact, Bhushan, you have created. You just went to that world. And in maybe 6 seconds, 7 seconds after that, he says, I want to be a tourist guide. And all that, Bhushan, you're great, you have achieved all these things, just comes into a reality. but that was so close to me because that is how kids interpret. Because I go to the school with the donors, with the people who are not the same color as us. They they see me talking in English with the donors, with the volunteers. So their interpretation was more that I was as a tour guide or tourist guide, and just that imagination that they have, the way they interpret everything, inspired me so much. And there are so many different stories like that. But again, I'm repeating my word, but I'm one of those people who truly believes in the power of education, and that itself, and the luxury to build school for the people who does not have enough resources, inspires me every day.
Thank you so much. I think Maxim has a question, but I'll ask him to wait for a minute. If I'll just get to Akash for right, because I think we've kept him very comfortable for some time. So yeah. So Akash, what I'd like to say is we have this illumnus, and the examples that you've given us is of some very good schools. I would like to know, is it how effective will it be in 2-tier and 3-tier schools, or even in the rural background?
Okay, it's actually pretty much effective, as in the good part is, as Bhushan inspired us today. So, from that particular story, there was last year we were connected with the Mumbai guy who was teaching for not for profit, but in the slums, like Mumbai slums. And he has been teaching and inviting students over at his place, and he had been, doing it for 12 years. That was really inspiring. And after that, we connected to him just like in one of these such conferences, and we served that. Okay, let's move move you to the online education, because it was very very rigid scene in Mumbai last year, specifically in the first wave. So yes, the education actually kept on going. You talk about the second tier city specifically. So Gauri, what was the city like? Latur, I guess, in Maharashtra. So over there as well, we served to a government school. So yes, it does not matter which city you are in. You need a.
We have also served the school in Nepal. So,
Oh, you do?
yes,
Which one? I mean, that's interesting. Look at us.
it's called Dimension Academy for Senior Secondary School.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in Nepal. I have forgotten the name of the village. It's near Kathmandu. I'm not really sure where is it.
Great. It's such a small world, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Also to add to that, for example, in the Afghanistan situation right now. So we're serving the let's say Kadan group we were talking about. So Kadan is Afghanistan group, and during Taliban issues and people are here and there scattered. But to continue their education, their CEO is really amazing, and she has been very much into, just like you, Bhushan, very much focused into making impact, and they are using the platform, and they are doing it regularly, and people are scattered over here and there. We can't exactly see the situations, but yes, it is somewhat creating an impact over there. So yeah, I mean, love doing what our team is doing. So yeah.
Thank you so much. That's wonderful. I'll now request Maxim to please ask his question. And sorry for delaying it.
Not at all. Thank you so much, Charles. This is to Bhushan, and Bhushan, do allow me to play the devil's advocate role, because this is where we tend to not want to get into it. It gets a little ugly, but it's also a matter of fact, and it's something that's good for our growth. Now, I am in fact casted a post out here on a message, and you sound Aristotle. You have the power, you have the energy behind that power, and you sound like you really want to make a big difference in Nepal, and providing the top-notch education to the needy Nepali students is something that I would want to give my time and service to, if ever in future. Right now, I have something to ask, and it's anyone on the education front will want to. First thing is that you mentioned about setting up schools in these most areas, Bhushan. What I wanted to know is that how competitive have you made those schools under your wings? That's number one. Second, I would want you to add to that is also the type or the best global practices that you have probably initiated, or probably you have under your it's there in the book, in the pipeline, and something that you want to give to the children of Nepal. And provided to that, two questions you would also may want to mention, in case in the near future, not so distant and far away, if you have to be sidelined by a top coming school, how are you prepared?
Thank you, Maxim. I'll try to remember all the aspects and try to answer it. In case if I forgot, please remind me again. So the first part is in terms of how competitive are the students or the product. Look, again, I'm not much worried about it. So what we do is we are here to provide a space where kids feel more comfortable to study. How much impact does it make? We started in 2016. In 2015 earthquake happened. Certain time it needs all the government approval to happen. Let's take last 18 months out of equation. So from 2016 to 21, that is when we have built 9 schools. So to see the impact, the competitiveness of the kids and everything, it takes some time. It's not overnight thing that will happen. Has it made the kids' life easier to go to a classroom to study and stuff? Yes, I'm 100% sure that it has made their life much easier. Are they willing to come to the school? They are excited about coming to the school. So yeah, that's one part. Second part, you talked about the best global practices. I'm fortunate to have consulting. I've done some consulting work in some of the country where, look, every country has some remote part. Might not, like the need in US, the need in Canada, the need in India, the need in Nepal would be different. But education is basic, right? And one thing that I have noticed in all around the globe is the concept of dreaming, and that ability to dream, and that we call it, ability to dream. That's itself a project where we try to show them what can you do beyond what they see, because you go everywhere, kids want to be teacher, kids want to be doctor, kids want to be engineer, kids want to be lawyer, but very rare you find in this location kids saying that I want to be a fashion designer, I want to be a photographer, I want to be a YouTuber, I want to be a poet, and just to show them that they can do it. And out of 30 kids, maybe 2 will get it, but those 2 kids who could genuinely believe that I could be a poet or I could be a graphic designer, and they actually started thinking more about it, for me that changed, and that is one project that I have been very close with, because I take a lot of these practitioners who are practicing this thing. Recently I took a poet, and he shared how being a poet can give him good enough money to make a survival out of it, and that is something that he have enjoyed. He would not be a banker, he would be a very bad banker, but poet, he's great at it, and he is making a good life out of it, right? So kids actually seeing that me being a poet would actually give me a good life, and if one student can take that inspiration, that's all I need. That's second part. The third part you asked was about again, Maxim, can you please remind me what was the third part that I missed?
Yeah, I said you worked your way out so well, and you probably done you make justice to what your ambitions are, and the love that you are trying to follow up with, and the passion that has driven you to provide this education to these children. My question was, how sure are you not to be sidelined by a top coming school in the near future?
It's a hard question. I have not thought much about it, but the way I would answer is, all of my friends, being an MBA graduate, having a double master's degree on business school, I think I could have been into some corporate world, with a well-dressed setup and with fancy world, but I choose to be this one. I love going to the hills, being dirty, being covered full of mud. Because that gives me satisfaction, and I don't see me going to some other profession right now. You don't know what future holds, but again, as I said, I just love what I do. I am blessed to have this opportunity to do what I'm doing. So I didn't see any reason to shift or to divert from what I'm doing. So yeah, I mean that's not a very solid answer, but
Thank
that's
you.
something that
Thank you. That was a wonderful one. We are running out of time. I'm almost going to close it, but I would still want you to take Arun's question, which is how does one decide the competitiveness of a school? If you could do that in briefly, how does one decide the competitiveness of a school?
So is it about competitiveness in terms of where we build, or how competitive is school itself when when they start operating? Which side are we talking about? Or if you could just make it clear.
Yeah, Arun could please take on.
Actually, this was a question to the questioner.
Oh, okay.
Right. That's okay then. Thank you. Yeah.
So before we wrap up, I have sent my email in the chat box. Please, my request is, I might have a limited vision. I might have a limited resources. I might have a limited area to think. So anyone who has a better idea, who thinks, the other way could work more efficiently, or there could be some thought that you have which could help me, or just to connect, it would be lovely to connect with all you change makers. So please feel free to reach out on the email that I have given, and I would love to get connected and discuss more and hopefully make some change together. Thank you so much.
So once again, thank you everyone. Before we wrap up, I'd like to say a big thank you to Bhushan, to Akash and Gauri for making this a wonderful session. There was so much energy from the audience also, and there was so much of interaction. It was almost like as though we were sitting across the coffee table and talking. And thank you so much for everything. And that's a good night from all of us. And thank you. Tomorrow we'll be meeting with other guests at 5 p.m. sharp. Thank you and God bless you all.